Take you back down to where the burial is going to be taking place this coming weekend, this Saturday. In fact, Dan Moyane, the host of this show, normally down in Ulundi for us. Hello to you, Dan. Good afternoon. Let's come down to you. So the official memorial underway yesterday. Give us a sense what today is looking like, and then also how we're beginning our build-up and preparations ahead of Saturday.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Edwards. Yes, you are coming to us live from the grounds of KwaPhindangene. This is the home of the late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Today, I must say, has been much quieter compared to the last few days since Buthelezi passed away last week at the age of 95. The reason of a quieter environment today is because the family did appeal to mourners not to be making their way here from today, because the family wanted to be given the space to really focus now on some of their traditional rituals. For example, we'll get some details a little bit later from a family spokesperson, but for example, today the family had to go and inspect the site of the grave of Mangosuthu Buthelezi and also visit the mortuary that will be handling, or the undertakers rather, who will be handling the coffin and other such important matters. So it's been quieter, but there has been people streaming in and out of the home here, KwaPhindangene, of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. For example, we've seen a group of top Maskandi artists here, Maskandi being a genre of music, of course, that is famously from here, KwaZulu-Natal, who came in performing a little bit earlier as well to pay their respects. We've seen members of Base Nazareth, the Nazareth Church group, for example, who were here earlier for prayers, and there have been a number of others. We also saw earlier the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Nomusa Dube, coming here as well for a meeting. But it's been much quieter than we've seen in the last few days, when there were literally throngs and throngs of people streaming in every hour to pay their respects, especially after the news broke of the death of Mangosuthu Buthelezi. So today, really, family has been given the space, and they respect that. We'll find out a little bit more from a family's perspective. Shortly, I'll be joined by Thulasizwe Buthelezi, who's a nephew and a grandnephew of Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who will be telling us a little bit more about what the family has really been busy with today. And later this afternoon, Gareth, will also speak to another representative of the family, and who will also be giving us more details about what they'll be doing, especially tomorrow. But somebody today who's been talking to the family is our colleague, senior reporter Spamandla Goke. Just a short while ago, we brought our viewers a live interview with the daughter and a great-grandson of the late Mangosuthu Buthelezi. And I'm going to bring in Spamandla now just to share with us and remind us what has been coming out from that conversation, and also from others. And after Spamandla Goke, we'll give you a sense to our viewers of what kind of security preparations are being done at the local Prince Mangosuthu Memorial Stadium here in Ulundi, where the funeral is going to be taking place. Earlier, Police Minister Begitele did visit the stadium just to inspect. There was also a memorial, Gareth, as you know, in Durban at the Mangosuthu University of Technology. Let him really cover that for us. We'll also touch base with her as we try and give you a sense of what really has been happening here today. So, Spamandla, let's start with you. You had a chance to speak to the Princess Phumzile Buthelezi, and sharing some of her memories of her departed father, but also you spoke to her great-grandson, the younger generation. What came out from you? What are the highlights of that conversation?
Well, it's how they say they will remember their father and their grandfather. If you take into account that Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi was, a father figure here, KwaPhindangene, and a senior and an elder of the Buthelezi clan. And so, therefore, he would have dealt with a number of generations, from his own children and to other children. I see here Prince Qedi, members of the Zulu royal family are here, as we see Princess Nombuso, as well as other members of Amazulu royal family. There is Prince Qedi. These are members of the royal family, and the royal family has been coming here. Prince Thulani is also here, as this is about family now. Yes, they did ask for privacy, they did ask for time to grieve and mourn. Remember, it's only today that they are left with as the family, whereby they will have to come together and finalize logistics for one of the biggest funerals in South Africa. You take into account that tomorrow many people will come here, from members of the IFP, just mourners, traditional leaders, Amabuto. So therefore, it's only today, on Thursday, where the family will have some privacy and some time to finalize preparations and logistics, as they will be dealing with the mortuary where the body of the late leader is being kept. But also, there are too many factors to consider here. There are too many interests to balance. So Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi's funeral service will comprise of a number of sections, if I can put it like that. There will be a section that talks about traditional leaders. He was Nkosi of the Buthelezi clan, the traditional prime minister to the Zulu nation and the Zulu monarchist. You see members of the Zulu royal family being here. Princess Nombuso is the late King Zwelithini's daughter from Kwaketo Mthandayo Royal Palace. Prince Kredi, one of the senior members of the Zulu royal family. Prince Thulani Zulu used to be the spokesperson of AmaZulu royal family. He's no longer the spokesperson of the family, but he has worked for a very long time with Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. And if you take into account that other members of the royal family have come here to pay their respects, the interview that I had with the daughter and the great-grandson centered around their memories. Princess Phumzile, who is a politician in her own right, by the way, told me that her father contributed a lot in terms of asserting her authority politically, but also developing and preparing, grooming a well-established political leader. She's been through the IFP Youth Brigade structures, IFP Women's Brigade structures. She's a member of the National Executive Committee of the IFP. She's also a member of the provincial legislature, as I see on my right there, which will be your left, members of the South African Army, and they are here at the site, and also just check some of the logistics. Bongam Kize will try and show you those visuals here. It's not surprising, because Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi has been accorded a special official funeral category 1 with all the military honors. You see members of the South African Army coming to Wapindangene to inspect just, you know, the vicinity and the area of where things will be taking place, as the prince has been accorded special official funeral category 1. Princess Phumzile telling me that her father was a principled man, a great leader, but most importantly, she says to me, he was indeed a loving father. That is the sentiment that was echoed by the great-grandson.
Okay, thank you very much, Spamandla Goka. Just summarizing for us what some of what came out in that conversation he had with the daughter and the great-grandson of Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Preparations are, of course, underway. One of the areas which is going to be a center of activity between today, as preparations are undergoing, and, of course, the funeral itself on Saturday, is the Prince Mangosuthu Memorial Stadium here in Ulundi. We're going to take our viewers there now. Umuluku Molote has been there. The Minister of Police has also been there with a number of other officials, Muluku, I understand, inspecting the appropriateness of the structures that are being set up there for the funeral. And I understand, apparently, Muluku, Begicele is not entirely happy with the infrastructure. Tell us more. Okay, we'll try and get hold of Muluku a little bit later, just to get that update for you about what is actually happening there as the preparations are underway at the stadium. Muluku, I understand you've just joined us now. Tell us, why is the Minister of Police, Bekele, not happy with the structure there, the stadium?
No, I'm not late.
Unfortunately, we seem to have a problem. Apologies. We seem to have a problem there with the connection with Muluku. I don't know if you can hear me now. Good afternoon, Muluku. Can you hear me? No, we seem to be having a problems there. Yeah. Let's go to Durban, rather, while we're trying to sort out the technical connection with Muluku at the Prince Mangosuthu Stadium here at Ulundi. Letiwe Mdluli earlier attended a memorial at the Mangosuthu University of Technology, MUT. Letiwe, good afternoon. So, Lukele, what happened at this memorial at the university that's named after the late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi?
Well, Braden, we saw students and staff of Mangosuthu University of Technology basically gathering at the Kaseme Hall here at the university and bidding farewell to the founder of the university. As you'd remember that Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi was the founder of Mangosuthu University back in the 1970s. Back when it started in 1979, there were only 15 students, and this has been shared by the Vice Chancellor of MUT a bit earlier on when the memorial service was still underway. It has just concluded, and today the university has about 14,000 students, and the Vice Chancellor basically spoke about how important education was to the founder of this institution. We also heard from the Buthelezi family who made their way from Ulundi to here at Mangosuthu, because they said that this is one of their father's legacies. It's a very important legacy, and they will remember him as a man that found education to be very important. And they also shared why he chose Umlazi Township to be the place where this institution was going to be built, saying that Mangosuthu Buthelezi of course wanted black South Africans to have a part of education, to be a part of something, and to also provide for their families. And they have shared also that as part of his legacy, they are going to continue honoring him, and they are hoping that the institution is going to continue taking in students from disadvantaged backgrounds and giving them the education that they need in future. So among the speakers, of course, was the Vice Chancellor, and we also heard from Prince Zuzifa Buthelezi, who was here. We also saw the IFP's chairperson in KZN, rather, Tamintuli, who was also here. We spoke to him about the legacy, and of course they said that they wanted to be here and also just share in with the other people who were here just to remember Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, the founder of this institution, Braden.
Okay, thank you very much, Lethiwe Mdluli, about what happened in Durban. But let's take you now to the Prince Mangosuthu Memorial Stadium, where I understand Moloko is connected, and he's with the Minister of Police, Bekele, whom we understand, Moloko, is not happy with the structure that's been prepared there for the funeral.
Well, I must say I'm not really privy to such details, Braden, because he had been, along with the National Police Commissioner and some leaders of the IFP, as you can see them doing a walkabout here. They have been in a meeting or a briefing of some sort, and we would really want to give them a bit of time to continue with their briefing. But yes, he's been here really for more than an hour, and as I said, with other leaders of the IFP, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Nomusa Dube-Ncube, has also been around, but for the time that she had been here, I really did not see her forming part of this briefing that are continuing. That is Albert Ngongo, the Deputy Secretary General of the IFP. And obviously 2 days ahead of the special official funeral, Category 1, they obviously want to make sure that they tick all the boxes in terms of logistics, in terms of security as well, and all forms of logistics that are required to take place here, Braden.
So the minister is still busy with the delegation at the moment. We just had some reports, Moloko, that he might not be very entirely happy. We'll have to wait and find out when you do speak to him. But from what you have seen there, what's the progress like, Moloko, in terms of preparing the stadium, getting it ready for Saturday's special official Category 1 funeral, which President Matamela Ramaphosa has declared for the late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi?
Well, the stadium is certainly secured in that they are already building. I'm going to try, Braden, to have to speak to the Minister. Dosi, thank you so much for your time. You've been here for an hour really trying to work. What has been the progress so far? Are you entirely happy with the process?
I've been here since 11 in the precincts here. We are briefed by the leadership of the IFP and the leadership of the presidency and the police. Seems to be everything is on the correct lane up to this point.
You are ticking all the boxes. This is one of the biggest funerals in the country, and issues of crowd control, issues of security. Are you expecting any potential threat whatsoever?
Well, as you say, it's one of the biggest. It's not the first one. So also the event is not the first big event in the country. Only last week or 2 weeks ago, we had the event where people thought it was going to be very heavy for everybody, about 51 head of states and all. It did happen. This one, remember, is a somber. Even that will be helping. That is a somber event. The leadership that you see us working together like this gives even the extra hope. There are things that we're finalizing and all that. With the stadium, we seems to be very fine. We'll be working some few things on the routes coming here, but everything seems to be in order.
You don't necessarily need to go into the finer details security-wise, but how many boots are you deploying on the ground? The members of the Public Order Policing Forum, are there special units that you will be deploying here?
I don't know why journalists continue to ask this question, because you don't give an answer to that question. Just imagine, as I'm sitting here, there'll be this police, there'll be special force, there'll be intelligence, there'll be that. No, we well planned. For the fact that you see the national commissioner here, his deputy, the provincial commissioner, the leadership of the IFP, the leadership of the other government levels, the premier is here and all that. So we are fine, we are satisfied. But exactly to give details, so and so will be standing there, will be there and that, we can't do that.
So far, Minister, what we know is that this is a special official funeral, category 1, with elements of military honors. Some of us may not even have an idea of what that would entail. Earlier we saw even a mock coffin draped with the colors of the South African flag. If you can just outline what South Africans on the day should expect in terms of the protocols around this type of funerals.
You see, now want me to be presumptuous. I'm entering the other terrain. That will be defense. But Mamwini had the same kind of a funeral. Is reserved for former ministers, this category 1 and all that. As you see, the police have really less or nothing to do except the security of the event. But the soldiers, the defense takes over. The CIC, the president, who happens to be chief of the armed forces, is here himself sitting with the family and all that. But exactly on details, I was a soldier far away, not here, so I would not know the formal kind of thing that we'll be doing. But for the fact that is category 1, then the army is responsible.
Last one from my side, Minister. I'm just being a cynic here. For the longest time, you have been there with the National Police Commissioner and leaders of the IFP, supposedly getting a briefing. But I see the Premier of the province, who is the head of the provincial government, seated there, cutting a lonely figure. Is she part of all these arrangements?
Well, if you are going to apply this thing of rating phones is 205, eh? If you are going to apply for 205, you would have seen how much contact I've been having with the Premier.
All right, so she's part and parcel of this.
You just say, you can even ask her how much contact do we have and all that. Not just not, there will be, Premier is overall looking at the matters that will be your logistics, your food and everything. Police are more on the security side. On the other side, the DG herself is coming here, having the meeting and all. We're not going to all come together. We have work streams, and those work streams will be led by different people.
All right, thank you so much, Minister Bekitele. I'm just going to try and see if I can speak to any of the leaders of the IFP to get the preparations in terms of the party perspectives. Mr. Singh, please introduce yourself and your position, and before we proceed.
Yeah, Naren Singh, I'm a member of the IFP Top 7 and the Treasurer General and the Chief Whip of the party.
Thank you so much. We can see you are hard at work, ticking the boxes. Logistic-wise, are you entirely happy from the party's point of view?
Well, from the party's point of view, we have laid down what we would like to see in terms of what Mtwana would have wanted, and speaking on behalf of the family as well. And obviously we have to work with the Defence Force, the security and all the authorities, including the Premier. So far, there were some kind of adjustments that had to be made, but I think we're doing it in the interest of ensuring that, firstly, Prince of Kwapindangana gets a fitting farewell, because that's our priority. Second priority is to ensure that the clergy, and this is the main reason, is the service, so that his soul rests in peace. We want the clergy to be comfortable, and then after that, the President and other speakers would be here. And we also a bit concerned about crowd control, and that's why we've had such long interactions with the Minister of Police in terms of crowd control and how we manage, because, you know, there's an outpouring of mourning around the country, and thousands of people want to come here tomorrow. Like yesterday, we had over 20,000 people at a very short notice memorial service that we arranged. But we're expecting many more thousands here on Saturday, and we trust those that come here do so in the spirit of honoring the legacy of Mtwana.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Singh. I understand you have to go, but thanks for borrowing us your time. Yes. Braden, the obviously you can tell the issue of the numbers, it's an issue that they will really need to navigate quite delicately there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Moloko. It's going to be a very important factor, how they're going to manage the numbers. I guess that is why, as the Minister of Police told you a short while ago, he's been around the precinct and in this area since 11 o'clock this morning. Thank you very much, Moloko Moloto, at the Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi Stadium here in Ulundi. It's a memorial stadium in honor of the late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Also, Lethiwe Mdluli was talking to us from Durban about a memorial which happened at the Mangosuthu University of Technology. And then we also heard from Spamandla Goke, who's also here with us at Kwapindangene, stationed in a different location here. And he's been talking, of course, to the family. Thank you very much, Ngome, Lukhele, and Moloko Moloto. Now, I have with me one of the grandnephews of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who today also is a politician. He's a political leader in this region. He's in fact the mayor of the Zululand district under which Ulundi falls. I'm talking about Thulasizwe Buthelezi. He's been here today as one of the family members, a grandnephew. Just going to give us a sense, and as we wrap this segment of our live coverage from Kwapindangene here, just to what the family has really been busy with. Shenge, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Thank you for your time, and our condolences to you and the family.
Thank you very much, Braden, and to all the viewers at home.
It's been a quieter day. It's been busy, but quieter compared to other days since the passing of your great uncle, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. But people still want to come and say, Umntwana, we want to pay our respects. But just tell us about how the day has gone so far from your perspective as a family.
Well, throughout the week, we have been overwhelmed by the love, by the support, by the affection of people from all across South Africa, from all sectors. Thousands and thousands who have come to pay their respects, young and old, black and white, from all sectors. And therefore, as we come closer to Saturday, it is now a time for the family to reflect more and prepare without the glare of the public, so that we put Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi in his final resting place with the necessary decorum and tradition and custom which is necessary for eNCA of the Buthelezi clan, also Prime Minister of the Zulu nation.
And that's happening today and tomorrow?
Today and tomorrow. As we can see, the elders of the Buthelezi family have gathered just behind us. They have been to see where Prince Buthelezi will be buried, and therefore right now the family is really doing the final touches to what will be happening on Saturday.
Yeah, I understand earlier there was also a visit by a delegation of the family to the gravesite, and all those preparations are happening in the privacy of the family in terms of the traditions.
In fact, it started yesterday with His Majesty the King, King Misuzulu, sending a delegation of senior princes with 3 oxen, which will be used over the weekend. And that really was the start of the customs and practices which will happen. So therefore, the family really today is much quieter in the build-up to Saturday.
Yeah, you addressed a gathering earlier. We saw some people from a church, Nazareth Church. We also saw the presence of some top Maskandi artists who came to pay their respects. At some point earlier today, you had the opportunity on behalf of the family to speak to them. What was your message to them?
We received a delegation from the Nazareth Baptist Church, which were sent by Unyazi. And really ours was to thank them for their support and their prayers for the time when Prince Buthelezi was ill, right to the time when he returned home, and now for the comforts that they are offering through their prayers. We had members of the Apostolic Church here also to offer prayers to the family. And that is what has really strengthened us, because in all his roles, the foundation of Prince Buthelezi's outlook was always prayer. And therefore it has been very comforting to receive these ministrations from the various church denominations.
Just before we spoke to you earlier, we were speaking to Spamandla Goke, a senior reporter, who's also here, Kwapindangene, and he mentioned the arrival of soldiers. And where we are seated, as you said, not far from where we're seated, under a marquee, they've arrived and they're seated there. Why are they here? Do you know?
Well, as you know, President Ramaphosa has announced the funeral as a Category 1 funeral, which will be handled by the military. And therefore, as a courtesy, the head of the military and all the generals are here to pay respects to the family before they perform their official duties over the weekend.
Now, you are a grandnephew, you are a politician, you are the mayor of Zululand district under which Ulundi falls. Was he an influence in your life? I'm talking about his legacy, for example. Are you part of that legacy?
Well, I'm a product of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. From university, where we started the IFP student wing. He was there. And for the past 23 years, I've been a member of the IFP National Council. So personally, he was my mentor. He has been a very strong presence in my life and has shaped my political outlook. Therefore, being a mayor of Zululand, I owe in great part to the investment which he made in my life. Prince Buthelezi paid for my university education, but he didn't know at the time that I will end up in politics. But being a mayor of Zululand, where he resides, has added that extra responsibility on my shoulders that we must provide services. You have seen the village of Nkonjeni, where we are. The roads are tarred, people have running water, people have housing. And that really is the legacy of Prince Buthelezi, because he never left his people to live in the big cities, but he developed the rural village from where he comes, and all the amenities from electricity to tar roads to water ensured that people get the basic services which they require.
What about his political outlook as you reflect today that has really resonated with you?
Well, as always, he paid the price for his convictions. He was never scared to stand alone, even against the crowd. But really what stuck out for me, for Prince Buthelezi, was always his stance to say, whatever we must achieve without confrontation. We must agree to disagree. And therefore, his role in developing his people within the limits that he had, that really touched me and shaped my own political consciousness.
Shenge, thank you very much for your time. That's Thulasizwe Buthelezi, rather. Thulasizwe Buthelezi. There is a Simelane who's also Thulasizwe who used to work with us, Gareth. Apologies for that. Thulasizwe Buthelezi, a great nephew of the late Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, as he explained, who influenced him a lot. That's why he's ended up in politics, and today is the mayor of Zululand district, under which Ulundi falls. Just giving us a sense of what it has been like for the family today, and those family traditional rituals will continue here tomorrow, and then ahead of the funeral service on Saturday, which, as we know, Gareth, is a special official Category 1 funeral. Over to you, Gareth, as you continue with Today here on eNCA TSTV Channel 403.
Yeah, quite right, Dan. Thank you very much indeed. As we know, the funeral is going to be taking place on Saturday. Don't worry, I also would have said Thulasizwe Simelane, old colleague of ours. It just rolls off the tongue, but we'll come back to Dan a little bit later. That was Thulasizwe Buthelezi, of course. Wonderful coverage from our team, including Dan Moyane, the regular host of this show. We're back to him again a little bit later in the day. Now, when we come back in a second here on eNCA, we're going to be talking about the Post Bank and the grants that have not been paid over to recipients. We're told it's a technical glitch. It's simply not good enough. Why are we here? We'll find out when we come back in a moment.